questions channel. We'll try to run from them from top to bottom, and we'll post in our the answers channel that we have, just so that we can keep track of everything that we've answered. If you have like general comments, or want to just talk amongst yourselves, or whatever you want to do, you can do it in the site chat there. That's what I imagined. As for people that are admins, who else do we have currently as a speaker? Just me and you.
Yeah, I'm waiting for the others to come in.
I think I saw Nate in here somewhere.
There it is.
No, shush! You just have to click the speaker button. Calm down, buddy. It's okay.
Okay.
Everything's okay.
For Luna, the main thing that we're really worried about with like the magic circles and whatnot and the light effects is partially just for me, it's people that are light sensitive and whatnot. If it does change during the restart, we'll just have to figure something out. Like the bigger ones and whatnot, I'd rather you use them for, like say you're doing some kind of ritual or whatnot, use it for that, and then just pick it up. If you have it in like a special ritual room where not a lot of people's going to be, I don't have a problem with that one. Just so long as it's just not like out there completely blaring. Light sensitivity is basically, say someone's epileptic and the lights are flickering too much, say their computer's spazzing out as well. It can and has thrown some folks into a seizure. And I'd rather avoid that at all costs, especially since a friend of mine has that issue.
It can also cause stuff, like less intensive, such as like headaches or like focal seizures, stuff like that. It's just generally something that we would rather avoid. It typically can come from like lightning effects into different stuff like that. Do we have? I don't think the drop is able to join. Was Light able to join?
She would be popping in soon. We'll be going from there.
I'm just we need somebody to keep track of notes and stuff as we answer questions.
Okay.
Because I don't want to hold these people here for too long if we don't have to.
No. Just go ahead and give them the general rundown. I'll pull up questions.
Yeah. So I'll kind of, if I start to break up, just let me know. I am currently leaving my house, so I just need to find my keys. Is what I just need to do. There we go. Excuse me, buddy. Hold on. I'll explain in a second. So pause.
I'm inviting beef.
Lucas, are you here?
Hello.
Do you need anything from the store or anything?
Sorry, I was just saying that. I was just going to say that I can take notes if you want, but I'm not sure if I've got permissions to edit the channels.
I ain't going nowhere.
Yeah, give me a second. I'll put it in on that one.
I did finish your last bagel, so I'll grab some more of it. There you go.
Don't give a shit.
See you later tonight, brother. You're not working today, are you? All right, cool. Sorry about that, guys. So we kind of wanted to start it off by just letting you all know overall what we are trying to aim for as a server. What we're trying to push towards. A lot of the admins here and moderators, and I mean honestly all the players as well. We've all, been through every server that we basically could be through. We've seen all the drama, we've seen all the issues, we've seen all the good sides, we've seen all the fun times, we've seen, everything. And what we're trying to focus on at DOA is player involvement. We don't feel like
you're
it's
roboting.
Just,
let your internet connect.
Am I?
Yeah. Should go back to your house and just do this speech.
what I get for being an adult and having other things I have to do. Uh, uh, am I any better? Can y'all hear me? Any, like, am I still breaking up?
You're better now.
I'm good. Okay, cool. So like I was saying, we want to focus on you guys. We want to make it to where you all feel included, to where you all feel like you're part of the story, where you have impact on what we're doing. It's not just we have this rigid storyline and you're going to follow it whether you like it or not. None of us like that. From any story that we've ever been a part, none of us have liked that. We want you all to feel like you matter. Different ways that we're going to try to do that. We have the different guilds. We have what we've been doing with streamers, where streamers are kind of like quote unquote assigned a storyteller. I don't really like using the word assigned. It's more just like you'll be working with the same person if you're a streamer. That way, you'll always have that feedback, and you'll get to like build a repertoire with the storyteller and things like that. I'm professions. I kind of want to just put this out there. I don't know if it's a question that somebody has asked. Professions, I have not perfected yet. It'll be something that comes within the next week. I've been really busy with work, and a lot of stuff has gotten in the way. But this season, we are doing blacksmithing and we are doing alchemist. And we are trying our damnedest to make it a rewarding and not time oriented, I guess, but like it's not something you have to sink 100 hours into to make any progression or anything. We want it to be fulfilling, rewarding, and make sure that you all feel like you're having a fun time while you're doing it. Another thing that kind of goes in with the aim that we have for our server, I specifically want to mention, go back to, I know all of us have had a lot of experiences on other servers. Every single one of us have had an experience on some other server. Most of us, not every single one, most of us. But I want this to be a positive community. I want to make sure that whenever people think of DOA or think of coming to DOA or something, I want it to be against the grain of what a normal community for Conan is supposed to be, like sexy RP oriented, anger, toxicity, or whatever the hell. I want to make sure that we are positive and people like coming here and feel safe here and feel involved and feel, good. We are going to be opening community. I can't remember the exact on my phone. So community groups. So the ones that we have set up right now, I think Drop talked about them a little while ago. We have the Veteran Connect and we have the Mental Health Awareness. Those are going to be opened relatively soon. It's going to be an opt-in thing where essentially you can, click a button just like you would apply whitelist.
Robot.
Yeah, you're breaking up a little. Oh no, did we lose him?
I don't know. Essentially,
you want to open up?
Okay, there we go.
Did I start breaking up again?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
My bad. Sorry. If you want to put something in as well, I can't remember if we're doing it by ticket. I think we are. If you have an idea for, a community organization, put a ticket in. Be like, I want this community, or I want an organization like this, and we'll look into it. We want to make sure that everybody feels included. So if we missed out on something, toss it in there. And, worst we could say is no but, and we'll give you, an ulterior or something like that. Another thing, the people that are in this chat right now, I'm going to have somebody else take over to start answering questions, just because I can't look at my phone. But I do want to kind of end off on this, just so that everybody here is aware. The poll in the server upkeep channel, I think it's a little bit up. Basically, I asked if you all want us to show our receipts for for paying the server and for different things like that, or if you are comfortable with the way that we have it right now, where I just pay the server and you know it's going to go to a good cause. Be sure to fill it out for me so that I can get at least a relatively good idea of the numbers of our active community, so that I know which way to go, so that I can start recording those receipts and everything for you guys if that is what you all decide. I am going to pass it off to whoever wants to volunteer to answer questions that are in the question channel right now. If I do have anything to kind of put in with that, then I'll just chime in.
I'll answer.
Would anybody like to volunteer?
I'll answer some
Can I answer
questions.
a question?
Well,
Okay.
whatever questions I come across, I'm going to read right now. To answer Luna Visit's question, should streamers open a ticket to find a storyteller? If you have opted so far for as a streamer, but you have not been assigned a storyteller, I would open a ticket. If you are a streamer, say, hey, I'm a streamer. I'm going to be doing this. Would I be assigned? What storyteller would I be assigned? Oh, I would say yes. Open a ticket so that way we can get a storyteller assigned to you specifically. So that way you can be acquainted with that particular storyteller, and whenever you open your tickets regarding your stream for your content, that storyteller will be the one handling it at all.
Can I also chime in on something really fast?
Yes.
I want to clarify with this streamer thing. It does not mean that they are getting prioritized stories. It also doesn't mean that they're getting fast tracked for stories or anything like that. It's just so that they always go to the same person rather than having a bunch of different storytellers trying to run the same story or the same story plot. I just want to make that clear to everybody. We're not trying to play favorites or anything like that. It's just for that reason.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
That was
anybody
all.
can open up a ticket for storytellers.
Can we, Nate, can you start from the top for the meeting questions and start work your way down?
Oh, yeah.
Real quick before he gets in on the questions. One thing I want to say about the dungeons, because a lot of the dungeons have been reworked. Some of the stuff, for example, the Black Keep, there's a box that normally gives you the ancient key. Because of me having to redo the dungeons, since the server settings are not affecting the mobs inside them, I've had to do spawners. And since I had blocked the previous spawn, that box no longer gives you the ancient key. It drops from one of the mobs in the room where that box is at. So make sure you check bodies. Some of them will have special shit. Some of them will also have the stuff that you need to go through the dungeon with.
Alrighty then. For the first question here, to answer what is the server story, I don't want to give too much away because we kind of do want to give this as a surprise. What I will kind of say, if we're good with that, is that the theme is horror. That's probably as far as I want to go. I know the server story is going to be anybody want to help on this because I don't want to give spoilers.
We explained it in the past. Picture your favorite horror movies. Vampires, zombies.
The theme is horror. That's one thing.
Or mage, anything under that, there's a chance that it could appear. Werewolves. Some naked dude walking around acting like Michael Myers.
Now the second question for regarding the building or placeables outside the perimeter of the blue line. I think Danny, you would be able to answer that because I think you're the one who.
That is because the mod will be changing and whatnot. And we want to give the creator the chance to adapt to it, and also we will be using it as admin areas for events and whatnot. There are places outside of it, and even to the top right corner of the map, if you drop anything, it's gone. It's gone forever. It's bye-bye. So if you do move to the area at the top right corner, just there's a couple houses, put a chest down if you're going to hand something to somebody because it's going to be gone. But no, the main thing outside that perimeter is it's aesthetic, and with the map updating and everything, we don't want you to lose everything. It's just it's more like a liability thing, just for sake of you waking up one day and all your shit's gone.
Yeah. To answer the other question, I know Centtique typed it in there. What time does the server launch? It does launch today at 6 p.m. Eastern.
Because I cleaned my desk up last weekend.
Well, we started cleaning off the pool table and then didn't get as far as we wanted to, but
Riza.
Hey, yo, you have a pool table?
Okay, let's see here. Toxic asks, can we get more in-depth explanation of the magic circle rule and debate about it in a thread if it isn't an absolute thing we can change your guys' minds about? Okay. Who wants to,
me to?
Yeah, who wants to go over that one?
So, the magic circle thing was also partially me. So, the reason that we have it to where you can have the magic circles up to 4 of them. And same with the waterfalls. Reason being, lag can create if multiple of them are placed within inside of each other. Now, I'm going to touch base on waterfalls and magic circles since it's kind of in a similar thing. Starting with waterfalls, you place 4 of them inside of each other, that water's running consistently. That's constantly going to be something the server has to update and render as saying, hey, this is something that's running 24/7. Now, if you turn on the sound option, that sound's going to overlap, and sometimes it can spaz out and make it to where VoIP is no longer a thing in that specific area. Magic circles. The reason we have it set to where, and the rules where we do not want you to turn the animations on, is because some of them have flashing, and then it's also for the people with epileptic issues. We don't want that running because of the flashing stuff. If we have people in the server that have epilepsy and we end up causing the seizures because somebody doesn't listen to that rule, that can become an issue. Or if we don't have the rule and the same thing happens, that's an even bigger issue on us. It also can cause lag. 4 magic circles running consistently on top of each other or close proximity of each other is okay, but anything over 4 will start to create lag. That is where the 4 limit came in. So the main ban on the reason that we have it set to them not being allowed to have their animations running, they have to be static, is purely because of, 1, to avoid lag, and 2, to avoid giving people health issues.
Right. Next question, are there going to be notes for this who can't make the meeting? I believe Beef is taking notes. Is that correct?
Yes, I am taking notes and answering things.
Perfect. All right. Dropkick really going to use Patreon moment for gambling? Oh, I doubt.
No.
No. No.
Hard no. Pass.
Good to stream. Remember, we already got that. So let's see. So I did it. Maybe missed it for the rules, but what's the take on childlike RP? A lot of us come here to escape from the demons. There should. I think that's. There should be in the rules of no child RP. I don't know. To me, because I play
18 or
Meatloaf.
up.
Yeah, 18 or up, basically. I play Meatloaf, who has an adolescent mind, but he is not a child. He's just a shitty ass goblin. That is probably as far as I take it, but I don't see that as childlike RP. I just see that as more of a dumb goblin. But yeah, 18 or up is gonna be the answer to that question. So yeah, we shouldn't have anybody coming around acting like a child. If somebody is wanting to play a family member like this is my son, that son is still going to have to be 18 or up. They cannot be a adolescent child. They cannot be, somebody that is underage, because this is a 18 plus community. So we want to keep it that way.
Yeah, and I really, and just it gets a little personal in this one. I want to keep it as characters not looking like children, just for sake that you don't know who's out there and whatnot. And I'd rather not feed into that.
No lollies. Period.
Okay, we got multiple streamers in the same clan will have their own storyteller, where they have the same storyteller. That is a good question. I guess we can go case by case based on that. So if whatever streamers do opt in to have a specific storyteller assigned to them, we can always see if they, hey, you know, are you in a clan with multiple streamers that are actively streaming alongside you? To possibly maybe kind of keep the same storyteller with that if you are going to be telling the same stories. Given that we're probably going to have several streamers that will request this, might get the same story teller to help them handle their story. So you might have beef over here. He might handle 2 or 3 different streamers. Story tickets personally, he would be assigned to that. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen, beef, but just as an example.
If you don't mind me, I was also told that it's mostly based on your location, so that you're not an EU streamer who has somebody who only wakes up at like 3 a.m. for you.
That is perfect. I'm glad you reminded me of that. Yeah, that's also going to be one of the cases. So I guess to answer that question, we should do that case by case. So if you do opt in to want to have a storyteller for your assigned to you as your stream, but you know for a fact that you have 2 other streamers, for instance, inside your clan, if either of one of those are all in the same clan time zone as you, then possibly we might be able to keep it to 1 storyteller for the 3 streamers. But it depends on the streamer himself. If that streamer does want to do separate storylines across from separate from their clan, you know, we can see about having a separate storyteller assigned to that streamer. I think that's more of a case by case. We should see how that works, given that this is new. So, but that is a good question, and I'm going to keep that in mind to probably discuss later on of how we would handle that. Let's see. Is there a
I can answer
band?
the next one if you want me to, since
Okay. Is there an
you've been
equipment
talking
ban
a lot.
list? I only saw the 2 rules. Blah blah blah. Yeah. There you go. Take it away.
The band, you're good. The band equipment list is in the rules. We made it as a separate document just because it was a running list, and we didn't want to like update the rule document over and over and over and over and over again. We will add a link into the like main rule Google document to the item ban list, but the one that is currently posted in the rules is the most up to date.
Sidetrack.
Okay.
If you ever do the Witch
The red
Queen
light is
dungeon-
over, so
If you ever
somebody
do
else
the
take
Witch Queen dungeon, you will no longer get trapped. There is a lady in there that you can use to get out.
All right. We have a clan member channel. What about solo looking for a clan?
So you can put that in recruiting. You are free to. I don't know if I set that up as a forum channel or if I put that as a text channel. But you're free to say, oh, I'm this character. I'm playing this character. I'm a single goblin looking for fun. You can put whatever you want in there. And it works the same way both ways as like a bigger clan recruiting people, a solo looking for a clan.
Next question: can we ban Joseph from PvP? That is a no.
Dropkick's already banned himself from PvP mainly because of his older age. He's becoming a pacifist.
Yeah,
that's what I like to say.
he's a pacifist.
He's actually He's actually banned from like the server. He's no longer an admin. Your consideration is taken into very hefty consideration. Thank you.
What is the current server build? Pluto, how would you answer that question?
Elaborate for me.
Yeah, could you elaborate?
Unless somebody wants to.
Nope, I was going to say elaborate too, so we're all on the same page of confusion.
Also, for the adopt me solo player thing, just hide from Danny. If she sees you, she'll adopt you.
Celia, you can edit your message, and it like bypasses the 5-minute limit. Nobody abuse that. Unless
Also,
Discord updated that.
Or anybody says
did, then-
anything, yes, I'm aware. We do need the restart messages in game set. They were at one point. They are not now.
I think I fixed it. I actually asked the Patreons to let me know if it's fixed. I think our one of our passwords got changed, and I updated it while I was at work today. I just needed to wait and see.
What's the current server build, stats, RAM, memory, etc. With our current
The
provider,
most that Havoc will give us.
yeah, let's say our current provider for this season, we're using Havoc, and it is currently maxed out as much as they would allow us to have. Now,
we
if it comes to the point
currently.
that if it comes to the point that we need more, then it will probably end up becoming after the season, and then we will have to move everything manually because Havoc won't move it for us, and the other place won't obviously do it. So we would have to move it manually to the other provider, and then try it.
I will interject. Two things. If you're looking for specific stats, 16 gigabytes of RAM. It's like the highest priority for CPU that they have. We are currently located in Chicago, I think. And they do. I can't remember from which side. It's either from the box that we would move to or from Havoc itself. But one of the providers does allow importing of servers. So if and when we do need to move boxes to possibly a more expensive server, we will be able to import all the server settings over into that other server. The server will probably just be down for a week, which is why we would want to wait until the end of the server season.
Velzy, yes, the Mithril Greatsword is banned. I just forgot to add it. It's on there now.
And Luna, I think that covers your question. I can double check, but I'm like 90% sure it's Chicago that it's located in.
Any more questions? It's time for now.
I'm looking up our post real fast just to clear, or just to, I don't know the word, not clarify.
Confirm.
Double check. Confirm. That's the one. Thank you.
Mhm.
Talking about the starting
Just
area.
tell me what.
If you're talking about the two doors at the starting area, where you chose like your race and all that, they both go to the same place.
Okay, yeah. There are two doors at character creation. There is. So, are you meaning like, did you, if you chose to be a local or a traveler? Is that what you're getting at? To answer what I was regarding the local traveler deal, because we will have the two doors there. If just so others that have not gotten to the server yet, based on your character, is if your character is a local person, when you go through that door, it takes you to a separate starting area before you go into the entire world of the server. So it'll have extra things to get and set up for you after you do all your regular character stuff and everything. A lot of that will be going over with you and helping you while you are in there once we open the doors, but just to kind of give a little bit of a glimpse. If you are planning to be a local, you will be going to a separate place. If you're planning to be a traveler, you'll be going to a separate location as well. But in the end, there is a portal that will take you to wherever you need to go in the world that we have built for you. It's kind of like you have your first starting area, and then there's two separate bonus areas depending on what you choose. Kind of deal.
Out of curiosity, because I don't think I remember, is there a explanation as to what the difference between the two are? Just
Yeah.
if there's
Yeah, so basically if you're a local, your character has been established in Arcadia. So the Arcadia is in the land that the server as well as the season is taking place in. If you are a traveler, it's somebody that is coming from a different place to Arcadia. That's kind of like the lore behind that. Just to kind of add some extra stuff to the starting area, just to give people a little.
Yeah, it's for the sake of simplicity. It's a matter of just the locals will be essentially viewed as like citizens of 10X, and they're just people that have been here for a while. They kind of know the lay of the land. They've got an idea of the kingdom. And travelers are just people that have traveled through. They could just be passing through, could just be new to the lands and still don't know anything about what they're seeing, and it's all just brand new to them. So it's really just a matter of familiarity.
When the fuck did you get here? You scared the fuck out of me, Drop.
That's right.
He just joined.
I'm always watching.
One thing
Yeah.
that has been said in under a little thread that was made for vampire weaknesses, and I think one about day-night cycle. Nighttime will be increased currently
Oh, yeah.
as the mod that we're using with the map for the extension. It still is running the Eclipse, and base Conan and the Eclipse are still running. So for a while we had both. One random chance we had, it was like one night that I saw or 2 nights that I saw with no Eclipse, and now it's just been doing the Eclipse. Nighttime will be extended for you vampire users and other creatures of the night that travel better at night.
Or you shady thieves guild fuckers.
So people can have that proper RP experience of basically lurking in the dark instead of going out at nighttime saying, "Oh, I only have now 5 minutes IRL to do something." I just have to tinker with it.
One thing I will say to that too, there's a very good chance, especially since Funcom has already been talking about Age of War Chapter 2 and showing stuff that's going to be coming out with that. I would expect that update to drop relatively soon. I'm sure somebody else has more information. September 21st, there we go. Thank you, Sippy. So there's a very good chance that once that update drops, the map author that handles that mod, when he goes to update it, will end up fixing that Eclipse thing, so we get regular night times back. That does not mean nighttime will be reduced, because I don't want it to. I don't think any of us do.
Nope.
Easy way to say it, let's say you have an hour of night, not an hour of night, but an hour of day, you're going to have roughly an hour of night. They're going to be close to similar. If not, I'll make daytime longer.
Roughly.
Yeah, roughly.
Let's say it'd be like a max a day, maybe be like an hour and a half. Nighttime will maybe be close to an hour. You'll have more day than you will night, obviously, but there will be longer nights.
What we're going to shoot for is probably around like 3/5 daytime.
Yeah.
Okay, Rose, you have a question. How do you get your animal forms on the server? We have a place in the starter area, right? That is, 'cause I haven't been there for a while. That where we their ships.
So the way that we're doing it is basically if you pick Druid or Beastkin, you get a certain amount of coins. And whenever you, if you have either one of those roles in Pippi, there's an egress door in the middle of the Traveler and the local exits, and it'll say shapeshifts and things. You go into that room, that's where you'll get your different shapeshifts. There'll be a couple different vendors in there where you can spend your coins, and you can get a few different shapeshifts depending on what makes sense for your character.
Right. Can travelers still get a house in town? That's a good question. Really think about that.
Absolutely can.
Yes. There we go. Now,
we want the capital and everything to be populated, so I wouldn't see any reason why not.
now I'm wondering
On
if
the-
you're asking. I'm sorry. Let me
Sorry.
get this out. If you're asking about like, are you able to buy a house, or because some people are putting in character tickets and wanting to be established and already have a house in town. If you do want a house in town, you will need to put a ticket in for that, so we can find one for you if you don't know which one it is, and make sure that that house is not taken. If you want to RP out that, hey, I want to have this house, but I want to be able to come in and maybe do an RP interaction and purchase it or whatever. Still put in a ticket so we can choose that place for you and then hold it down. That's something I'm okay with.
Hold it down.
But yes, if you're a traveler, you can still have a house in town.
Wolf, that was something that we ran out of time to do it, but we were gonna have like a funny meme real estate agent posting for the exiled lands in the Kingdom of 10X. So definitely on the market. And just to kind of like piggyback off what Nate said too, those tickets and everything, I would say if you're going to get those in to be like an established local, quote unquote, probably want to get them in a day, because after today, when the servers officially launch, it's pretty much saying, the locals are already there, up and running, and they're locals. So the houses that are going to be taken up are taken up. Anything that comes after that would just have to be done through RP, because we're also going to have a lot of the buildings that are going to be vacant will be potential store locations for people that want to go that route and eventually go from a stall to a permanent store.
And to answer Luna's question about flight, yes, for season 1 there is no flight.
No flight.
I'm gonna jump
Let
down
them wings.
to Sippy City. If I butchered the name, apology. Yes, the weapons on the ban list are only for actually using the items. You cannot actually use them. If you want them as an appearance, go for it, use them.
I wanted to touch on the flight thing. If we do decide in another season to bring in flight and whatnot, it's going to be very much a one person can mess it up deal, because people tend to like to take something to an extreme. An extreme. Don't use it to avoid RP or conflict or anything like that. Be reasonable with it. Don't just be flying around all 24/7 and whatnot. We want you to actually be involved. I've seen other servers where people would literally just be flying around as their dragon and not doing anything and just being. And yeah, Monocard, that's something that we're still on the fence about, because it's tempting. It's so tempting, but at the same time, it's abused so much.
Yeah. I'm personally of the fence of always being very anti-flight, but I do see the appeal. But like Danny said, it is something where there is going to be, it'll be like the build boxes. Like the build boxes are a big thing that I push for, but in order for all of us to agree on the build boxes, it was pretty much agreed upon that it would be viewed as there is no negotiation, there is no diplomacy involved with it. If you mess it up, you fucking lose it. And it could be a very quick and easy thing where we just strip it from everybody.
All right. Move on. Is there plans to ensure players are included in stories? I have seen servers not include people because of many reasons, from too many people involved to some BS reasons that the player wasn't top tier in their RP skills. Now, with me to answer this question, I'll let everyone else also chime in as well. The way I see it, the way I'm going to be is I want to make sure everybody is included. I don't care if you do not have the best RP skills. I don't care if this is the first time you're ever RPing. I'm going to make sure, me personally, I'll try to give you RP. I'll try to bring in any kind of character, and I will try to help in any story ticket that, hey, I could come in and play this character to help push that RP story for you. That is my personal thing. I want to make sure everyone is included. I want to make sure that there is nobody out there that feels left out or anything like that, because I personally have felt that before. I've been in groups where we were completely left out from the main story. Nobody wanted to have anything to do with us, and yet, we try to put ourselves out there. I don't want anybody to feel neglected in a way. So we're going to do our damnness to make sure that everybody is included. And I can tell you right now, with what the plan is for the main season story, it's going to involve everyone.
If they want to.
Yes,
If they want.
I was going to say that whilst we will try to include everyone, we can't make you join. So if you're going to sit in your house and do nothing and then complain that we're not including you, we can't really help that.
That's exactly. If anyone
Yeah,
else wants to,
it's like anything else, guys. You get what you put in, or you get out of it what you put into it. So for the people that are actively pursuing the storyline and actively trying to be like as much of a part of it as they possibly can be, like that, it's going to be a lot easier for those people to be in the loop, in the know, to be communicated with, than somebody that just really doesn't care, or at least really doesn't try to pursue that. Because the way I see it, RP is always a matter of, if you get out and pursue the RP is there. But if you just wait around for somebody to bring it to you, good luck. It's not really a thing that's going to happen.
that is true.
And that's why, like, some of you that may know me, like, know that I usually enjoy like running solo concepts when I'm a player, just because I like being able to have my play experience be I log in, then I get out there and find RP. And not saying that, that's best for like a solo or anything like that, but that has always led to me having plenty of RP to kind of go around and figure out what I want to actually interact with. And it definitely be the same kind of expectations here.
Yeah, I'm
Oh.
sorry. No, I was just going to touch on something really quick. Sorry, Nate. Basically, the way with the story and everything like that, we're pushing more towards the players' involvement as opposed to, okay, that's an admin, they're doing something, we're going to follow them around. We want to guide you through the story to figure things out and whatnot, instead of you guys feeling like just second bananas, whatever that terminology is.
Second fiddles?
I don't
Where
know.
did you get bananas out of that?
I'm
Banana.
sleepy. Look, it's almost bedtime.
Fair enough. Danny, you did just remind me of something I kind of like want to elaborate on too. So for those of you that are watching like the DOA difference segments, this is something that came up, but I do want to like quantify it, because a lot of the people that I've spoken to and kind of went into detail on this haven't really realized the full extent of it. As far as the dynamic difficulty goes, that is completely tailored to what you guys do and what ideas you come up with. So what I mean by that is essentially kind of like the example I brought up in my announcement. Let's say a bunch of people are going to be attacking a bandit base that's been causing problems, that's admin ran. Even if we have different ideas or designs for how those bandits are going to play out, if you guys end up arranging for a fight and there's a group of you that want to do, let's say, a scouting mission to get a better lay of the land and figure out what you're going to be doing with it, then that's something that we can definitely... Second.
Oh, damn, that man got bassy all of a sudden.
My bad. So the scouting mission, like, we're actually going to make that a thing for you, because that's something that would impact everybody that's going to be participating in that event. That's a server side thing. So you'll open up a storyteller ticket, be like, hey, I want to go on a scouting trip. These are going to be some people that are going with me. We'll probably set up plenty of roles and checks to see if you're going to be successful in that scouting endeavor. I may even have actors playing the parts of like guards or something like that that you'll have to sneak around in order to get the information that you want. But if you're successful in it, then when it comes time to the actual event, either the guard, like in that specific scenario, the guards will be reduced in number, because the scouting information would have told you the best time to attack. If you get caught, however, that puts them on the guard, so there'll be more guards and they'll probably be better armed, so that means they'll hit harder. There's ideas and stuff like this that'll apply across the board for anything that comes up. The important thing that we want to hinder on is ideas that involve the wider player base are the ones that we'll do the most with. If you want your character to have some super special weapon that you've RP'd getting, just so you're a badass, I'm fine with you doing that, but don't expect like an admin level change to the mobs or anything like that you're going to be fighting, because we don't care about the one person as a hero thing. It's just not something we put any weight to. But if you want to change that to, well, no, I want to brew this super special poison to hand out to everybody. Well, in that case, like, just to show that poison having an effect, we'll probably reduce the HP of all the mobs that you'll be fighting so they get killed quicker. So there's a lot that you guys can do with it. It's going to be completely up to the player control. So as things happen, think about ideas like that, and what we can work with, we'll work with.
All right. Is there an accessory limit for our characters, specifically non-animation accessories?
Accessories via TAT, there is no limit. Pretty much as you will shove inside of that option node that you have for TAT is how many you will get. Like right now, for one of my outfits, I have like 10 of them.
Rookie numbers.
Yeah, I think I've got something like 26.
I could very much continue adding stuff to it, but it's just like.
Are there any
basic.
restrictions on base game sorcery?
The only ones that basically the only restrictions for base game sorcery is you can use any and all of it. All right. But the only ones that are not too, I guess, let me rephrase that. You can pretty much use any of it and all of it, but the only thing that is not to be used is obviously Golemancy. Because golems are on the ban list. You are not allowed to make golems on the server. If somebody needs that explained, type it in the questions, and then I can explain why. There's another one. I'll remember the exact name of it, but it pretty much allows you to teleport. That is the other one that is not going to be a thing.
You're talking about the transitory stones?
Yeah, I think it is. Allows you to just teleport a little bit.
Well, no, there's there's like the actual like transitory stones that people place down. You can use them as like teleportation points.
I think we could talk about that one.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll talk about the teleportation stones, and when we have an update on that, we'll make sure it's announced.
All right. If you're a resident of the city, will there be one build box that everyone can use, or will we get temp ones until we're done setting up?
Neither, I would say.
If you're a resident of the city, are you asking? I guess my question I want to know is: are you asking if you're already in it, like you already own a house in there, or?
Yeah, it's pretty much saying like if they come in like being a local wanting to move into a house or whatever, if they can have access to a build box. It's definitely something that we can talk about. Like if anybody disagrees with me here, we can definitely talk about that. But from my perspective on it is you're not really going to like everything's pretty much provided for you. There's already doors on all the buildings. All you really have to do is deco, and decoing is pretty easy grunt work. So I would say you're just going to be responsible for doing all that.
Right. For the server settings, will bodies be left in game on login?
No, your bodies disappear when you log out. Couple reasons for that. One of the biggest reasons for that is you don't want anybody doing anything to your body when you're not in game. That is the biggest and primary reason that I have it banned.
Yeah.
And that can go from a base of very many different conversations. So, bodies being disabled, so when you log out, your body goes poof. That will always be like that. That's not changing.
Our characters are our role sheets mandatory. I saw the examples in Discord as well. They seem to heavily rely on roles of watch. Are they mandatory? I don't think I don't see it as something mandatory. Because I personally don't do a lot of roles. But I agree. Maybe someone else can elaborate on that because I personally I don't think it should be mandatory because I don't do roles as much, but filling it out does help. And there's going to be a lot of things that will involve rolling, as well as there might be POIs set up that will require a passive role, and that will need to have your sheet set up for that so to see if you would pass that role or not. See any further evidence of it. Now, with you regarding rolling in character, shouldn't be something that is required or forced to do. But I do encourage people to, you know, if somebody is trying to do something in game with you, like say, for instance, tackle you, you know, you can roll that you if you want to go with that tackle and you know and everything, and you could roll like you know your what's the role like athletics or whatever, and hey, you know you didn't pass the roll, you can RP out that you did get tackled, and of course you want that other person to roll that as well, to roll something, roll body or whatever, and to see if they were powerful enough to tackle you, and whoever rolls all that complicated shit wins. You could do that. If you don't want to do that, I don't see anybody trying to force that on you.
For the sake of ease and simplicity, in the words of Dropkick, let's do it this way.
Oh, I'm being quoted. Go ahead, hit me with it. Let me hear my quote.
Make an RR sheet when you're in game. Reason being, if somebody does that and they try to tackle you, and then you don't want them to tackle you, they could also say in the same way of, well, they're kind of power gaming because I can't roll to tackle them or attack them in the way that they want to do it, just because you don't have a sheet made. So I would recommend just making the sheet. You don't really have to use it. There are some things in it that will be used. Like later down the line, one thing that we had, which we were trying to shoot for, blacksmith and alchemist. If you wanted to do that, you would have to use that sheet.
Here's
It's gonna be safer just to have it.
Proud of you because you have properly anticipated my answer to this. But additionally, outside of that, like if somebody was to just not set up their character sheet, because like Nate said, it's not a requirement. But if you don't have a character sheet set up, and I've got POIs or am making people roll for things during an admin event, if you don't have your character sheet set up, you're just instantly failing because you don't have anything or any way of rolling that. I think that's fair, especially because character sheets take maybe 5 minutes to think of and use. Even if you never touch it again, like actually setting it up takes like 5 minutes. So just set something up so that way if a POI is put down, your character will just automatically roll the passive rolls to see if you pass or fail it. Or if we are doing an event that requires like a willpower roll, you're able to do that on the same level as everybody else. Because if you don't, then I'm just going to consider that being you accepting the fact that you're just going to automatically fail that roll.
Right. I starting to see this. I was missing it. About the locks installed on doors. Cintiq was mentioning. I don't know who would be would go best to go over the lock installation of the doors.
As far as like how do you actually install them?
Installing them, I guess probably lockpicking, all that stuff.
Yeah, so I've tested it with Sasquatch to kind of get an idea on how it works. For those that have played Bethesda games that involve lockpicking, it's a lot like Skyrim and Fallout 4, or any of the Fallout games for that matter. So that's how you actually like do the lockpicking. Is it pulls up a mini game that you have to get through. You have to have lockpicks on you in order to do it, and the lock has to be installed on the door. In order to install a lock on a door, all you need is to have the lock in your inventory, hold E on the door, and it should give you the option to install the lock. There are different quality lockpicks, just like there are different quality locks. I believe we have it set to where everybody gets the base level lock free, so you can just do /kit and get those. And then if you want to buy the higher grade locks, you can purchase them from the town. If I don't have that vendor set up yet, we absolutely will by the end of the weekend.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that it's understood that you have to have a lock on the door to your base.
If you're going to lock it, yes. If you are going to lock
Yes.
your house, if you don't want somebody just to be able to walk in there and do whatever they want to do, so yes, you would have to actually install the lock onto that door. Because it's something that we want universal across the board, so that way it is fair to people playing thieves or would have any reason to break into your home. But with that being said, definitely make sure you're following up on the breaking and entering rules and the I want to be thug life rules, because if you're going to be breaking into somebody's house, you do need to submit a ticket first before you do that. Mainly because we're going to be doing some quality assurance to make sure that the POIs left behind, the evidence left behind, are all geared towards actually creating RP, and none of that nonsense of like, you see a strand of hair. Like, okay, fair. How am I supposed to go off that?
Yeah, and it's also to cover your ass if someone pulls a ticket and it's like, well, this person came in and
Exactly.
Didn't leave POIs.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
100%.
All right, Cherry Pie. You said base game, sorcery has flying, and the call storms will do massive damage to base. I believe Pluto, I believe, went over probably some of that on the that's not going to be accessible through the base game sorcery. That's correct.
Which one? I'm trying to find it. There's a bunch of stuff I've been reading.
The
base
one that lightning strikes.
I
It
do know
has-
Oh, the
Roll
massive
Storms
one.
has been massively nerfed.
The big old lightning storm that creates the black cloud over the sky. If you use that and it does damage to people, it's not going to do a ridiculous amount, I believe. But it is, because I think it was also kind of altered when Conan did an update. But at the same time, there won't be any damage done to bases because base damage is turned off.
Oh, right. So Whimsic, we touched on door locks. You wanted to clarify on the question, are there restrictions on which classes get which base game sorcery spells, or can, say, a knight get ice, bridge, etc.?
I mean, I don't see any issue with it. It's a vanilla thing. It's not like we can restrict it anyway. So you do you.
We're not going to prevent you from doing base game stuff.
You would like to know why no golems? You've seen it elsewhere, but have never really seen it explained. That
So the reason for no golems, Vandal, is there's two major factors that the golems create and how they work with Conan. Every single time that a golem that is on the map, let's say you have 5 golems, those golems are going to send a ping to the server to let the server know I am moving to this location. That can also create a hiccup in the server with every single ping because let's say they're walking 5 steps, that's 5 pings every 5 steps. Now let's say you give them the arm that has the axe or a sickle or something and they go to gather. Every single time they hit that tree, there's another ping. So now you have the walking, you have the animation ping, and you have the gathering ping. The server pretty much overloads based off of the amount of pings. It creates hiccups, and that is what created a massive amount of lag back on EQ during Season 3 when we had golems on there. So the safest way to save server health and performance is to just keep golems banned.
But with that also being said as well, unlike most places, there is a vendor in the city that will buy all of your golem parts that you find.
Yes.
Should
Just
be a
say
huge
you get
quality
a bunch
of
of
life
arms you want to get
improvement.
rid of, go to that dude. He'll buy them.
Toxic, you had a suggestion for the transfer stone. Could allow to be used within the clan space, if anything, not to be allowed to go across the mess. That is something I guess we could post that in the suggestions and maybe we could discuss it.
Post that in suggestions for sure, just so that way we can talk about it and make sure we're taking everything into account for it.
Any restrictions on putting roleplay discovery points to allow for more in-depth interactions with players' sites? I use perception checks to help guide folks to discover more about the place they are visiting. Oh, I don't see any restrictions with that. I mean, you're talking more about POIs. I mean, I
Just
wouldn't
talking
go.
about roll limits, how high you can roll, the minimum you can roll.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think we do have something, right, Drop? I know you were. Or
I
who
know we
was
did
headed that?
we discussed this before with making it reasonable with the rules.
Danny, if you don't mind, just because I'm not able to pull it up right now, double check the rules. I'm pretty sure when we do have a maximum that a player is able to include into their POI roles. So I think we actually put that in the rules itself. I just want to double check, make sure we do.
Just something I want to point out to probably to the admin team. With the no building damage, probably need to put something in the thief rules about not blocking entrances with infiltrator gear, because otherwise you can put a ladder over a door and nobody would ever be able to use the door again.
Yeah, no, we'll absolutely
All right.
do that.
Rose, I'm reading your disagreement with the not having a build box because some of the deco pieces are cumbersome and get rid. So I think there is a limit. Give me a second.
You can have 40, you can have up to 50 placeables within a city.
So there is a build limit on the deco you can put in your home when you have a home inside the city. So I will let Drop handle with the build box regarding the place limit and if that is worth giving a build box to every single person or having a community build box for the people in the city.
Yeah, so Rose, like the mentality of it is a couple things. Like one, if we hand out a build box to every person living in the city, then that's going to be an excessive amount of extra build boxes out there, which drastically increases the likelihood that, because there's going to be somebody at some point, someone abuses it and ends up causing everyone on the server to lose them as a privilege. So it's going to be difficult to police that. Outside of that, if we have just like a public build box that everybody can come and use, it's essentially the same problem, only now you're making it to where it's a single location that a lot of people have access to, and it'd be even harder to narrow it down and police it. What I am comfortable with doing and what we would probably do is just, there's one of the buildings that I have in the Capitol that is already kind of set up with workstations. I'll make sure that's got a universal decoration bench and a universal crafting bench, as well as some storage that anybody that lives in the Capitol just has free access to use. So that way you don't have to worry about that. But ultimately, it's 50 placeables is what you're limited to. I cannot think of a single thing, and I could be wrong because, granted, I don't have everything memorized, but I can't think of a single thing that is just so resource intensive that it would be worth having a build box access to. Especially when you take out the fact that you don't have to worry about anything else outside those 50 deco items.
Will people who are picking locks going to have an animation? If not, will they be forced to have a status over their heads as suspicious lock picking, criminal flag, or something? I'm not sure how I would answer that question.
I mean, I don't. There's not an actual animation when you do the lock picking. You do hear the sounds, so there are lock picking sounds that everybody in the area can hear. I would honestly say that is sufficient. I don't like. We're already adding the step where they have to submit a ticket if they're going to be breaking into a place. I don't want to add on even more steps to that, or just pretty much setting them up for failure to where they're going to get caught no matter what they do, because they have to do a bunch of extra stuff. But yeah, they can't move. They're in that mini game until they close out of it or until the lock is picked. And every time like the tumbler hits something, you hear a lock picking sound. So that should be fine.
Yeah, and it'll be suspicious if somebody you don't know is just standing in front of your door for an extended period of time.
And the next question. Oh, go
real
ahead.
quick. I just want to address Rose before we move on with it. And Rose, this is definitely something where if there's more stuff that you want to talk about on it, just for the sake of moving things along, definitely open up a ticket, and then you and I can discuss things a bit more in detail then. But to address your most recent point on this, it's not necessarily that they're being cut off. It's the fact that the experience of living in the city is going to be so drastically different than the experience of having to build your own home away from the city. That's why that benefit is being given to them. For a city person, though, like the house is already there, all the build pieces are already there. All you really have to do is just do some deco and get it up and going. The admins are even there to help out with that. So if there is something like special or unique or something that you don't have a feat to, the admins or any of the staff members can definitely help you out with that. But it's a matter of like, it is going to be extremely easy to get the house that you want, make it look nice, and get things up and running for the people living in the city that a build box is just not necessary.
All right. Next question. Is there going to be an economy? That is a dropkick question.
Yes. Not only is there an economy, there's an economy that I have obsessed over and nerded out for a very long time. Spent many hours trying to set it up as to where it's challenging but makes sense. So the vast majority of trying to think of the best way to kind of like break this down simply. Resource vendors. Resource vendors are set up in the capital. They're at the ports and the market district. Very easy to find. They operate primarily off buying things for copper. The entire economy is built on trying to gun for an average 20 silver a day income. That includes daily quests. You guys have access to 2 daily quest givers that will both give you 5 silver apiece. And then I kind of expect people to more or less be able to make 10 silver based off like resource vendors, stuff like that. So 20 silver a day is the average. What this would cause is most transactions from player to player to be using silver as the denomination, which means that opens the window for high-end equipment, gear, investments, auctions, things along those lines to all be using gold as their denomination. So essentially, it's all kind of just a fluid building up process. There are things that you will need to buy because every prospering economy needs a gross domestic product. Ours is going to be Eldarium. So the Hymane's feat that allows you to craft Eldarium has been blocked. However, there are vendors set up in the city that you can buy Eldarium. They're not extravagantly expensive, but they are a bit of an investment. This is because there needs to be outputs just as well as inputs for the economy. There are auctions that are going to be set up. During the tourneys, you guys will be able to have market stalls set up at the tourney grounds where you can sell anything that you want. There's no cost associated with those. Outside of that, we'll also have actors from time to time, just rolling in NPC Tanaxian nobles that will go around and talk to the merchants that are at the tourney grounds. And I've given them a shit ton of money that if you're able to haggle them and get their interest and you're a good salesman, they'll be buying something for you for a pretty good profit. So there's definitely been a lot of thought put into the economy to make it something that works. That's also why like our pet vendor and our mounts vendor aren't going to have a lot of the stereotypical exotic mounts and pets that you may see on other servers. It's because we want those things to be exclusive items that we give out for events, prizes, and auction items during the tournament events.
One thing I want to also touch on the economy, which we talked about it briefly, was the possibility of, let's say there's a specific item that somebody ends up selling on a lot of, and I'm just going to use brimstone for example. Let's say people sell like thousands of brimstone and people start getting mad rich on it. The price of brimstone might drop.
Oh, actually, because there is a bit more rationale involved in that. Every Sunday, I'm going to be going through and adjusting the prices of the resources. It's just going to be on a rotating scale. This is to simulate supply and demand and market fluctuation of those resources. So I literally have like an hour blocked in my schedule every Sunday because I'm an OCD person that keeps schedules like that. So an hour where I'll literally just be going through and all the resource vendors will have their rates and prices adjusted, as well as like things like our herbalist, since there's just so many things that go into that apply to an herbalist. Some items will be traded in, some items will be traded out. So it's going to be a constantly evolving and fluid economy.
All right. Now, next question. Do we have to wait for an answer to break in or just for accountability? Because some break-ins are like spontaneous on a house. I'm hungry. Let's take some food. There's a lock-picking animation. I don't think you need to wait for a answer if you're regarding the ticket. I just think you need to open a ticket and let us know that what you're going to do just for more transparency. So, for instance, you want to be spontaneous and you want to go and lockpick someone's house so you can get some food. Well, you want to open that ticket and say, "Hey, I'm gonna be lockpicking and breaking into this house. These are the POIs I'm going to leave." You leave an example of those POIs, and then that concludes the ticket. We'll probably leave that
A
ticket open.
screenshot.
Yeah, well,
You will be leaving a screenshot of the POIs and not
Yeah.
anything else.
Yeah, you'll be leaving a screenshot of the POIs, and then And then that's it. We were not going to tell you that you need to wait. You can go do that, do everything you're going to do, but have that ticket open, have the screenshots ready to showcase in that ticket. So that way, when that player that you just broke it into finds everything, and then they open a ticket in any complaint or anything, then if they open a ticket, yes, then you have the backing of like, hey, this is what I did. So you don't
it's an
have to wait.
accountability thing, but it's also for the sake of if you do that and so I'm not going to lie to you, a lot of the thief POIs that I have seen throughout the time I have RP'd on Conan are just bullshit. So if that ticket includes screenshots of POIs that just really, they're the bare minimum for the sake of following a rule, not doing anything extra to create or generate RP, that's going to be used as a way to coach you towards leaving better POIs in the future that actually give the opportunity for good RP from the people you are stealing from. What this will also mean, because be aware of this, being made to have to leave good, solid POIs means people are going to get caught. They are going to find you at some point or another. Like someone's going to end up breaking into a house, and the person that broke into will be able to figure out through POIs and track down who that person was. So you will actually have consequences involved with stealing in, or the potential thereof to have consequences, I should say. So just be aware of that. It's not about doing the minimum that you can to get away with it. It's about creating a good RP experience for everyone.
All right. POI count to decor limit. Is that a thing? Are we going to count the POIs for deco? Because drop. I know you like to leave a crap ton of POIs in your home.
I do, but there's nothing that I don't think we can disable that. So there are, like, the POIs will just always be considered into the placeable count. So I've never, like Nate said, I'm obsessed with leaving POIs everywhere. Like, and even in my houses, you'll see POIs on the paintings on the walls, just explaining like where the paintings come from and stuff. So I've always been able to do that and not have to worry about placeable limit too much.
I think we're also talking about it in the back end.
Yeah, as of right now, I wouldn't be bad. Like, if you were at your limit for 50 placeables, but you wanted to add like 2 POIs somewhere in your home, and it put you at 52. I mean, I don't think that's going to be something that we're going to like,
Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you, but at the same time, like, if you give an inch, they take a mile kind of deal. What we do for one, we have to do for all.
No, I know.
If it's something where you're over by 2, just find 2 other things to pick up. It's not that big of a deal.
Okay.
Because we have to make sure we remain like consistent and hold people accountable.
And I don't know if this has been asked, but how close can we build to the city without being considered in the city? You're assuming render distance. I believe yes, the render distance. I want to say, just like any other building, it should be like 100 or so. I believe it's 100 paces. And you can do the pace counting with the control R and pull that up and actually have your steps automatically counted to see how far you are away from the city. But anybody else want to touch on that?
I'd say render is your best bet.
Within render distance.
And I believe 100 paces should be less. I don't know. I mean, I've done 100 paces before, and it doesn't render for me. So, but yeah, render distance is usually about 100 paces for me.
I was laughing at Kaitis' comment because I remembered his one of his characters has had the misfortune of walking into one of my characters' like magical workshops that had all of his trophies and everything else in it. Yeah, the man knows.
Eldarium is blocked. That's a drop quick question.
Yes, Eldar, the feat that gives the ability to craft Eldarium has been blocked because Eldarium is being sold by a vendor in the capital. It's the blacksmith, or it's the portside blacksmith vendor. He sells them. They're affordable, but it is intended to do a couple of things. Like one, like I said before, it is it cannot be stressed enough how vital to an economy it is to have a gross domestic product, something that everybody's going to need to buy, something where regular money is going to be spent on. That is just how economy works. There has to be output to match the input. Otherwise, your dollar value goes out the window. So it's needed for that. Outside of that, it is meant to, without bringing it down to a cripple, it is meant to slow the progression to the in-game weapons and armor, to where it is going to be an additional cost in order to get the things that you need to be able to get to that, because they are just that, end game. Me and anybody else that knows anything about farming and has no problem farming, we can definitely get to end game gear day one, if not day two of a server. You'll still probably be able to do that. It's just going to involve getting the coin to go buy the Eldarium. By whatever means that you have, which there are plenty of means to do that.
Do dynamic pricing also apply to NPC vendors' sales prices or only buy prices?
So it's going to. So the dynamic pricing only applies to the NPC vendors, the resource vendors. So I'm not going to expect that from the players unless they want to do that. And it will affect, yes, buying and selling.
And we can make Eldarium bars in game. It's not blocked yet. So are we? Is that not blocked yet?
I blocked
is
it last
blocked.
night. Blocked it last night, roughly around 1 a.m.
Our story roles like blacksmith, shop owners, etc., still need at the moment have all those roles been filled. I'm not sure.
So blacksmiths, yep, blacksmiths were good on from the sake of the kingdom blacksmiths and people that would be affiliated with the kingdom. Everybody is still perfectly fine to roll in as a blacksmith. Honestly, I love how many blacksmiths that we have because there's been a lot of people reaching out for that. Hopefully, we'll be able to get a profession going for you guys real soon that you're going to love. But from the kingdom perspective, blacksmiths we're good on. Healers we might be good on. But if I need any healers, I'll be reaching out to kind of go over that. And then the other ones that are outside of like tavern owner, I do need. So yeah, if you end up wanting to own a tavern in the city, holler at your boy, put in a ticket. We can talk it up.
One of your knights was talking about it last night. You just weren't around at the time. Reach out to Calico.
Oh, Calico's one to own the tavern? Absolutely not. Denied.
Yeah, he wants to run it and make his squire run it for him. I said, I don't see why not.
There's intrigue there, but no, I'm kidding. Yeah, we'll have to figure it out. I'll have an update this weekend, just to make everybody aware. This weekend, I'm actually going out of town, going camping with my dad, my heathen, and my brother. I guess my brother can come too. So I'm going to go try to see if I can find a black bear to tame as a pet while camping. So I won't be around, but next week I'll have more time to kind of check everything out, see where we stand on everything, and if anything else is needed. Make sure everybody knows about it, so that way everybody's up to date on it.
Sorry, just random question. Is there somewhere that people can see where the current available roles are, just so I can put it in the answers?
I don't have one yet, just because a lot of it was, hey, if you have an interest in something, let us know, and we can see if we can work with it or not. So it was kind of open-ended. The only things that were really major that we knew we needed was tavern owner, healers, and a blacksmith. Frostball, ironically enough, you bring up a moose. For those that know me, know that I have a really weird bucket list, and one of those bucket list items is to go to Canada, find a full-grown moose, and punch it in the face and survive the ordeal.
Good
I will
luck.
miss you greatly.
Yeah.
See, people keep saying things like that, like it's going to deter me from doing that. Colorado, I can get stoned and punch a moose. Frostball, I'm on my way.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. We have about 5 minutes.
I do need to get back to work, so I'm going to be bouncing out before everybody gets wrapped up. What I'll say before I hop out everybody just keep in mind, this is not only DOA's first season. For a lot of people here, this is our first season as admins. Definitely happy to have everybody here. We're very excited to see what you guys do with everything that we've made. With that being said, we love feedback and critiques. Keep it constructive. Everybody here is trying to get a feel for everything, trying to learn as much as we can, try to make sure that DOA ends up being a server that you guys all deserve. But it is going to take time. It is going to be a process, and there is going to be a slow progression in that direction. So be patient, be open-minded, and be constructive. And let's make sure that things don't end up turning to a toxic cesspool like they do on some other servers. But with that being said, I'm going to bounce out. Y'all have fun. Enjoy the RP this weekend. I'm going to go find a bear to claim as a pet. Peace.
Peace.
All right. With that being said, I think we're about 5 minutes from server opening. So get ready. Hype. The hype is real. If anybody else has anything to add, feel free. And like Ham said in the answered question section, we locked it off. But if you do have any further questions that come to mind, just put them in the question section of the Discord. Currently, I scroll past it all the time because I'm dyslexic. But yeah, just ask the questions there, and we can try to answer them the best of our ability and get some resolution for those questions, as well as suggestions. Don't feel free to put suggestions as well because we like suggestions. I like suggestions. It helps curate ideas. I want to hear, especially me, because I like to know other people's ideas that might help us as well, help tell stories for y'all for future seasons. So throw all the suggestions out there. But yeah, anybody else? Ham, you want to close this out if you're able to?
Ham's probably gone, dude.
He's still in here. He's just muted.
He's probably working
It's all right.
or driving.
Sadly,
Yeah.
he can't.
So
Welcome to DOA, everybody. We love you.
Yeah. Welcome
Glad
to
to see you
DOA.
here.
We're gonna see you here in a minute. Once we open the floodgates, but just hold on just a little bit, and we will give you the go ahead here shortly. But I'm gonna hop out because I'm gonna get some dinner before this shit happens.
All right.
Right there.